Right, and it is officially time to start. So welcome guys, welcome to the Serre-Poçon Lake. We are in Alps in France. It is 3:30 p.m. local time, and today is the 6th of January. So that's why in a moment we'll have an Epiphany cake. If you ever visited France in January, you might have seen some unusual desserts in the bakeries' windows. You have to know what they are, because otherwise they can be a bit dangerous for your teeth. So it's work for the bakery and work for the dentist in January. But anyway, I'll tell you about the cake. We'll try to find a spot with no wind to go and have the cake. But for now, let me show you the views. So for the ones that don't know me, I'm Natalie. I'm on a holiday here. I don't usually guide here. I'm based in London, and we are by the lake of Serre-Poçon. Serre-Poçon, that's in two words, S-E-R-R-E, and Poçon, P-O-N, funny C-O-N. It is an artificial lake. It is the second largest in Europe. It's usually an amazing blue because of the reflection and the minerals in the lake. And a funny sea, yeah, a sea with a little tail, c'est in French. And across the lake here, this is the Morgon, the peak of Morgon, over 2,300 meters high. And straight ahead, at the bottom at the foot of the peak, is the Boscodon forest that has now been almost nicknamed the forest of no return. So I'll tell you why in a moment as we go. But for now, let me tell you a little bit more about the lake. It dates back to right after the Second World War. It has literally been dug. We used to have a little valley here, and you have a river, the Durance, going down, and it is a dam. So it's basically creating electricity, and also for supplying water for pretty much all the south of France. So where I'm from in Marseille, without this dam, we wouldn't have water, or we wouldn't have it all year round. And the lake was created after the Second World War, with help from America, because Americans, they had already used the technique. And sadly, in the valley there were two villages. They had to be moved. They had to literally be dynamite. The village of Savine, a little bit further down, we had about 1,500 people that literally saw their homes being dynamite. And they had to remove the cemeteries as well. Two graveyards were moved because otherwise they would have been underwater. And in the middle of the lake, actually, let me show you a photo. I don't know if it's going to be a bit too sunny for a photo, but let's try. So there's a little, I don't know whether you can see much. I'll probably try again later on when we are in a bit of shade. Let's see here if I create some shade. Yes. So, oops, no, that's Monique. See, there's a little church here in the middle of the lake. That's from the old village. So basically they've destroyed everything, but they kept the church because they knew it was probably going to be over water anyway. So now you have this little chapel. It's called Saint-Michel Chapel in the middle of the lake. Moving cemeteries, it's how you get well, Martin, yeah, you know what, actually there is a ghost, or it is said that there is a ghost, not from moving the graveyard, but there's a little urban legend that said that when they moved the village of Sabine, one man refused to go and he ran into the forest. He was never seen again. And they say that he's still looking for his village, that is obviously now underwater. So they say that the lake is haunted. Who knows, who knows? So whether it is haunted or not, we don't know. What we do know, it's that right across the lake here in the Boscodon forest, there are some very shady happenings. Now, I'll tell you the story, but this is a very recent a few very recent dramas. So, let's be obviously very respectful to the families in the chat, because they could be watching us, I often do tours about, Victorian murders and stuff like that, which is a very different story, because of course it's very far behind us. But yeah, let's, for us it's a captivating story, but let's not forget that for about 6 families, it's a horrible, horrible drama and a tragedy that is still probably very much worrying them every single day, So we have an amazing forest with hiking tracks. It's absolutely beautiful because you can go up the Morgon and have a view on the lake. The lake is beautiful now, but let's not forget it's January. If you came here in the summer, it's beautiful. The blue is absolutely amazing. And we had really 6 disappearances, missing people. Today I'm only gonna focus on 4 because 2 others, one lady called Lucy in 95 and a German homeless called Nick in 2020, they were actually, their bodies were found the next day. So they were probably just horrible, horrible accidents. In any forest, especially in the mountains, you might have accidents. You might have people that fell down and sadly lose their lives. But usually you find the bodies. You might also have animals. We don't really have bears here anymore, but we do have a few wolves. But again, if it was an animal, usually you find, usually you find the bodies. You usually find, traces of an attack or blood or, so it probably is not an animal, although we cannot be, for certain. One of the second really disappearance, but the first one that we'll detail today, it is Monique Thibert in 2015. Monique was gone for a hike with some friends of hers. She was in her late 50s, quite fit, ready for a hike. And as they were going down, so they were not in the most dangerous spot. It is not a very dangerous hike anyway. As everywhere in the mountain, you could fall and you can definitely get hurt or even get killed. But it's not like, it's not like if you had any massive cliffs or anything like that. And as they were on the way down, Monique was walking a bit ahead and her friends at the back, another friend, they decided to stop. To have a little break, and they told Monique, but she probably didn't hear, or she didn't stop at least. Hello, you. And that's sadly the last time they saw her. Hello, you wanna be a YouTube superstar? Oops, oh, sorry. Oh, that's my cake. No, don't have my cake. Bye, boys. And so yeah, Monique disappeared that day, and her body was never found. It's actually, it could just be a tragedy, an accident, but it's actually very rare to never ever find the bodies. And it was not, unless she got lost, it really wasn't the most dangerous part of the hike. You know what? I'm gonna show you Monique's photos because she's the only one that was still today never ever found. And we never know, she could have, I don't know, had an accident, lost her memory, ended up in Italy or anything. So I'll show you a photograph. You never know, in case one day you run into her. Let me find a little piece of shade again. Yes, let's go here, so it should be easier to see. No, it's not shady enough. Hold on. There we go. I'm going to squat here so you'll see better. So here is Monique. 55, I think she was. Mike, yes, it's very possible, a serial killer. 3 of the, I was going to say victims, we don't know whether they are victims yet, but 3 of the ladies were late 50s, early 60s, brunette and quite fit, like sporty. So there are some similarities, in the profile. So maybe. So yeah, they search for Monique everywhere. They did not find her body, but they didn't find any of the clothing either. Because, after years, the bodies might go into nature. After a few months, it's only bones. But, Nike shoes or rucksacks, they usually last for many years. Monique was dressed in black, so it's probably harder to spot any of the items of clothing. So that's a good tip, If you ever go into the mountains for a hike, I was going to go tomorrow, but my sister told me not to because I might not be seen alive again. But if you want to go, you want to wear something very flashy, and maybe have a whistle with you. That's always a good tip. And so that was in 2015. A year later, there's another lady that went missing, Marie-Christine Camus. She was in her early 60s and also brunette, slim built. She had a boyfriend that lived in Embrun. Excuse my finger, but this is Embrun, just there. And we are 25th of December. So it's not exactly the time of the year that you'd go for a hike, I've actually been into the Boscodon forest 2 days ago, but it was all like frozen and, it would have been dangerous to go. And she went missing. She didn't really tell anyone she was going to go into the Boscodon forest, but 5 days later, they found her car by the abbey. There's a little abbey in the middle of the forest. And that is usually where people would park to go for a hike. It's a little bit hard to believe that she would want to go for a hike alone on Christmas Day. But, we never know. All her belongings were in her car, which is not unusual for a hiker because they don't want to lose their stuff. But again, if you want to go for a hike, take your phone with you, because if anything happens, you might have some signal and you might be able to call for emergency services. And she had left her car keys, on top of the back tire. I don't know if you've heard, but that's apparently what a lot of hikers do. Or people that do water sport as well. If you want to go for a morning swim or anything like that, often because you don't want to be losing your keys, you can hide it on your cars, on the wheels. And the thing is, Marie-Christine's friends, they said she would have never done that. It was not something she ever did, and she really liked her car. She didn't want to have it stolen. So that's why some people believe that it may have been a setup. It may have, she might have been killed elsewhere, and to make it look like a forest hiking accident, they might have, tried to place the car there on the car park and all that. Who knows? The abbey also had a priest that had some massive issues with the police. Let's not go into details, but Catholic priest, we all know the type of crimes they sometimes get up to. So he had been suspected, but it was proven that he was not there that day. And that was it, really. In the case of Marie-Christine, really, it does look like it could have been criminal. There are no elements at the moment to really confirm it, but it does look a little bit like a setup. And after that, they were not no more disappearing for a few years, really, until the COVID times. Just a day before the French lockdowns, so people knew that they were going to have to be locked in. there's a young man called Cédric Delahaye, well, young, 41 I think he was, that appeared to have gone for a hike. He had downloaded some of the hiking routes, and he was never seen again. Now, Cédric apparently he had been depressed, so the authorities were quite quick to conclude that he may have taken his own life. Which, to be honest, it's quite unlikely, because apparently it is dangerous, but you have no cliff. You know, it's not like, I mean, you could jump and not die. So, you know, that was it. They never found his, well, they did now, but at the time they didn't find his body for a few years. And a few weeks later, through the lockdowns, there was another lady called Laurence Clam. She lived here. And you know, at the time it was COVID, so you could only go for a walk an hour a day anyway. And in the morning, she told her husband she's going for a quick walk. We're talking a quick walk. She didn't take her hiking shoes or anything. She just went to take a bit of fresh air. She was never seen again. And again, nobody's found. But that could be fairly easily explained. They disappeared in the autumn. Then for the winter, you don't have that many hikers going around. And even for the emergency services and all that, it's a bit harder to go and explore in the winter, because, you know, you don't want to put those men at risk either while they search for the bodies. So they let me show you. I think it might be here that we have. Yes, let's have a quick stop here because we have some information here. So let me show you where we are. Up here, that's where I stay. I'm actually there in that little flat there. So that's a skiing station, Les Ors. The Abbey, so that's where the lady disappeared, where she parked her car. So it's basically straight up there in the middle. And the Morgon, the peak, it's the one we can see up here. Don't hike alone. Yes, ideally, it would be much better if we could all pair up and find some friends to go hiking, because really, I mean, most of those disappearances might just be tragic accidents, but then, you know, it's so horrible for the families. And if they were accidents, which is very possible, maybe not for Marie-Christine, but for the other ones, the thing is, it's human nature. If we fall into if we fall down, we get hurt, and we actually dying of cold, starvation. Apparently, sometimes we kind of auto-bury ourselves. We try to hide under vegetation, under earth, to warm up a bit. But then, if you actually die there, it's even harder for anyone to find you, because you auto-buried yourself. So very sadly, some of those disappearances might have been tragic accidents. So we are now at the end of the year 2020, and there's a famous French YouTuber that actually looked into those missing people case, published his video, and then the big media actually kind of went a little bit deeper into the cases. And the next spring, suddenly, in a space of three weeks, 3 out of the 4 bodies were found. We're talking about Marie-Christine, the one that I personally think it might very well be murder, Laurence and Cédric. The police has not published the exact spots at which they were found, but they were found in places, for most of them, that had been deeply searched before. So it becomes very suspicious, particularly in the case of Marie-Christine. You think, did the criminal watch the videos? Did he think, you know, I should bring the bones back now because they're all looking for them? You know, for the case of Laurence and Cédric, well, they had disappeared in October. You don't have many hikers for about 4 or 5 months. it is possible, but the thing is, decomposing bodies, they're not very discreet, because you have birds, you have smells. If they were dead by the footpaths, you would have imagined that they would have been found before, So at the moment, the authorities, they're only considering really the case of Marie-Christine as potentially criminal. But we can imagine that there might be a serial killer hiding in the mountains, or even a serial pusher. Maybe someone just coming there for a hike and pushing people into the nature. Who knows? So that's why it's starting to be dubbed as the forest of no return. Although there are a lot of people that do return. It's a beautiful spot. I'm not trying to put you off. If you fancy a hike in Hautes Alps, it's a lovely place to come. Yeah, and so yeah, we're talking about really 4 very suspicious cases. Plus, let's not forget Lucy in 1995, because she did have a very similar profile as the 2 other ladies. Because we know serial killers, they often have, a target. And maybe Cedric, maybe the gentleman, might have been an accident. Who knows? Bring Arnold Schwarzenegger with you. Well, yeah. Well, I mean, there are a few, even if you really want to go alone, there are a few things that can help, like having a whistle and wearing some very, because, if you end up in a cliff or you end up falling down, there's only so much your voice can go. If you start screaming, after a while you can't scream anymore anyway. So a whistle can be very helpful. Anyway, so that was the story of the missing people of Boscodon. And again, let's have a lot of praise and hope for the families, because, they probably still wake up every day, still wondering what really happened to their loved ones. Even the 3 that were found, it's still a very shady case, because in the case of Laurence, for example, she was found 2 hours from where the dogs, because they had those sniffing dogs, 2 hours from where the dogs lost the trace. Marie-Christine was found by the river, by the Boscodon Abbey, a place that had been searched several times. So it's still a very, very shady case. And let's hope the families ever have the answers they deserve. Anyway, let's move on. So today it is 6th of January. So it is, of course, Epiphany. Now, did any of you ever come to France in January? Did you ever try the Epiphany cakes? Let us know in the chat if you have. They can be a little bit dangerous if you don't know what they are, because there's a piece of china inside. So if you go to a baker and you don't know, hope for a deathbed confession. Yeah, that could. You'd think somebody must know something, No, you haven't, Linda. New concept for you. Good. Well, and if at least I can teach you what they are. So if you come to France in January, you don't get surprised, because apparently we do have a few Brits every year that would buy a cake at the bakery and break their teeth. So that's work for the dentist. Mardi Gras cake with the baby inside. Well, actually, you know what? There is something inside. Yes. Let's go. I could use that bench. No, let's go a bit further, because I'm gonna have to find a bench or something to put the cake on. But basically, those cakes, they actually go back before Christianity. Really, they go back to Roman times. The Romans, 2,000 years ago, they had a party at the end of December. They were called Saturnales. The Saturnales were there was a party that lasted for a week, and you'd have the masters and the slaves mixed together, and there were no more ranking system. So the slaves could give their masters some orders. They could actually play with their status. So that was an interesting party that inspired the Epiphany cakes. Let me show you the sign. So we are now in Embrun. So that's quite a good view, and I think I should be able to find a bench here somewhere. If not, we can go all the way. Yeah, let's go all the way straight down till the little house there. Those are not like in Brighton for rent, it's actually to change. Because in the summer here you can do a lot of water sport, you can go swimming, you can do jet ski or whatever. So if you want to change, you can go into those little huts. So yeah, the Romans had those big parties, and then it developed into a cake that we had beginning of January. And basically the church kind of stole the idea, because originally it wasn't very religious. And in those cakes they had a bin, a dry bin, like a kidney bin really. Oh, should I use this piece of wood here? Why not? Let's see, is it dirty? No, let's do it here. If it works, let's try, because it's very windy. I don't want to drop everything. Oops. Yeah, we should be good, right? So they started those cake with a bin, like a kidney bin, dry inside, hidden inside. And when you had the cake, whoever had the bin, they had to pay a round. In French we say pay a tournée. It's basically a round of alcoholic drinks. The thing is, some people were a little bit stingy, so they didn't want to pay for the alcohol, so they used to swallow the bin, because it was just like a dry kidney bin, so it was fairly easy to swallow. And let me set up. So they had to find a solution. So instead of putting a bin, they started to do a little bit of porcelain. So in the 19th century, they suddenly had a bit of china inside, so no one could swallow it. They had to pay for their drinks. Right, let me show you the cake. It's so windy here. Sorry. Right, where is the last piece? Okay. This is actually it's actually from the supermarket. I did not bake it. And as you can see, I've already cut it because I knew it was going to be a bit of a struggle. And guess what? I have cheated. I had to, because I'm not going to eat a full cake in front of you. So I have cheated. So about 96% of the French population has an Epiphany cake. They're called the King's Cake through the month of January. 96%, so it is huge. And over those 96%, half of them actually cheat because they want the kids to be the king or the queen. Now, what you do is you usually cut it, and then you have the youngest going under the table. So I'm the youngest, but I'm alone. So I would go under the table, and whoever is there would be like, who's this one for? Daddy, Stephen, Linda. This way no one can cheat officially, but what the adults do, usually they take a look if they can see anything, and then they give it to the kids because it's quite nice for the kids. Now, let's do this. So I've actually cheated because I actually put, you often see, you sometimes see a little something on the surface where you have the china. Right, let's have this all done. How am I gonna do this? Let's flip this camera around. Right. Where was it? I think it's here. I think it's here, but I'm not sure. Where is it? I hope it's the right one. I don't want to have to eat a full cake. So you do have to be careful, because you can break your teeth. Yeah. Oh, surprise! Ta-da! It all. There we go. So that's a little character. His name is Waze. So that's actually, we call it the fave. Fave as a fava, like a bin, like a kidney bin. And you can collect them. If you collect the fave, you are technically called in French a favophile. So the collecting of fave is favophilie. So we even have a term for it. And because I got the fave, obviously, I need the crown. Oh, shit. I've had a little accident. Well, I've broken my crown, but it's actually from a movie. I don't know if you've seen the movie. It's Zag. It's I think it's called Lady Bird and the Chat Noir. It's a cartoon that was out last summer. So I'm officially the king, so I need to buy you a drink. So that's about 50 drinks. That's gonna be expensive. That's why I should have swallowed it instead. So those little fave, they had started, originally they were more like religious characters or baby Jesus and stuff. But nowadays you have a lot of movies. It could be Pixar, it could be Disney, it could be the Minions. You often have those very expensive license. It could cost up to 100,000 euros to buy the license to do the little characters. But Galette des Rois, they're called. They are very, very big business. Most of the bakers in January, they actually double their income. And we're talking millions of euros every year. It is very, very big business. I didn't even tell you what's inside. This is called frangipane. It's actually almond paste, like in the almond croissants. So it's a very French tradition, but almonds are from California, most of them. Anyway, let me... I'm going to leave the cake here, but I want to show you, I've brought a collection of fave with me. I need to find somewhere flat. Oh, I know this gentleman there. My dad is here. Anyway, I'm going to leave this here and I'll show you my collection. Right. Hold on. Because I need somewhere flat to put them. So technically, I can be called a favophile because I've got a collection of fave with me. So I'll show you what they look like if I can put this... Oh, sorry, it's so windy. Right, I'll leave it here. No one is gonna steal my cake, apart from the dogs maybe. And I'll go and find somewhere flat to show you my faves. Oops. Thanks, Linda. Cool. Let's stop around here and I'll show you what they look like. There we go. So that's a little fox, one of my favorite. Go here, little fox. Oh, that's the one I had the other week. This is Harry Potter. So to get a Harry Potter license, it's probably very expensive. So that's from the supermarket. This one, Idefix, so that's Asterix. I've got loads, so get ready. Shrek. Oh yeah, there's someone that's someone went to see my cake, but my dad went to save it. Madagascar. One more. Yeah, some people found it very funny to see a Galette des Rois left alone. Right. There is Asterix. Let's put him next to his dog. So that's Idefix. They go together. This one is from Asterix as well. Let's put him with Idefix. And some are quite cool. Some are very modern, like this one here. This is a love emoji. Cool. And let me find some of the old ones. There used to be, yeah. So when you buy your cheap one, you often have, so that's from the crib, you know, that's probably a cow watching baby Jesus. And there is a plastic one from baby Jesus. The galette I've shown you now with the frangipane, it's actually called the Parisian because in south of France, you often have brioche. So it's a rounded brioche looking like a crown, and you've got those dry fruits at the top. And I think this is one of the wise men. I think that's one of the kings. And now we've got a few Teddy fans in here. A Teddy! Anyway, let me show you my face again. That's gonna be the end of the tour. And let me know if you have any questions before we go. I've got a doggy friend. Hey, do you want to be a YouTube superstar? No, that's not edible. Did you eat one? No. Oh, I hope. Because there was a doggy that came to see me, but I didn't want him to swallow one of the faves because it could be a bit dangerous. I suppose they smell like cake still. So yeah. Where did I get them from? So I remember that at my nan's in Brittany, there were some on the bookshelves. So I did tell my mum to grab them before Christmas. So my dad actually delivered them. I used to have a massive collection when I was a kid because, you know, it's meant to be the 6th of January, but we basically eat them pretty much all the end of December plus the full month of January. So if you are a favophile, you can collect a few every single year. And the galettes are not that expensive in the supermarkets. When you go to a baker, it's like €25 because they have much more almonds, and it's obviously, hopefully, handmade. Not always. Sometimes they sell it as handmade, but they don't actually make them, and they just bake them. But yeah, at the supermarket, the one I bought was €3.49, so it's not too bad. And anyway, thank you very much for coming today. If you want to see a bit more of me on Monday. Yeah, Monday I'm taking you to Briançon. It's about an hour from here. It's the highest fortified city in France. And I've never been, but hopefully I'll get a good signal. So I'm taking you there on Monday, and that'll be my last one in the Alps, because then I'm going home the next day. If any of you were able to leave me a little tip, that's very much appreciated. I know I don't have the links in this chat because of the bug. But you should be able to find them in the tour description, you know, if you wanted to use Buy Me a Coffee or PayPal me. And thank you, Carla. Thank you, Joy. Thanks, Rosemary. Thanks, Jen. Thanks, Linda. Thanks, Julie. Cool. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to let you go. Have a good evening, a good morning, whatever time it is for you, wherever you are in the world. And I'll see you soon. Bye-bye.